Appreciate it. Thank you, Frank. And thank you, everybody. First of all, I want to start off like I usually do, but big thing for me is saying thank you to everyone here and your patience through this process. You guys have all been great, and I apologize if I haven't responded to your texts or calls in the last 24 hours. It's been a little crazy, as you can anticipate. So thank you for understanding. And guys, ladies, this is about answering questions for you guys. We're going to have a press conference on Thursday. That's when we'll do it. It is an exciting day for Lobo Athletics. It's an exciting day for Lobo basketball. We have somebody who I'm very excited about, Richard Pitino, being our next men's basketball coach. I can't speak, any more about his, not just his successes, but who he is as a person, his character, his integrity, everything. So be happy to answer any questions, go from there. But go ahead, Frank, start it up. I don't hear what he's asking. Frank, you're on mute.
There I am. I can find myself. I've got too many people on the screen. All right, let's go. Jeff Grammer, you start us off, please.
Hey, Eddie, look, I'll start off with the boring stuff, with the stuff that most of us probably need to know for stories and reporting, and that's the contract terms.
No.
What was the length offered? What were the financial terms? And what can you say about how much the Minnesota buyout maybe played into how you structured the contract? What can you tell us?
I'm not going to get into the details right now because those are still being finalized as we speak. I will try to put those out as soon as I can. I will tell you this, that the contract information is going to be very similar to what Coach Weir had previously. We're looking at a 6-year contract at this time. As far as the dollars and everything else, those are all being discussed and finalized as we speak, so I don't want to speak until all that is finalized. The Minnesota piece had nothing really to do with as far as their buyout or their, my interest and his interest in us had already been conversations we've been having for a little bit of time. That's between him and Minnesota, to be honest with you. Our what we're putting on the table is what we feel is the best for us and for this university, and he knew that from the beginning, as well as all the other candidates did as well.
Follow up, Jeff?
I do have one. Was this a case of you having to sell New Mexico to him, or somebody, him maybe included, having to sell themselves or himself to you? I know Billy is a mentor of yours, and I'm curious what role Billy Donovan had in the marriage that is now UNM and Eddie Nuñez's hiring of Richard.
Sure. I definitely, the selling of UNM athletics or UNM basketball was very small in the whole grand scheme of things. Many, if not all, of the individuals that we talked to, especially Richard, knew of the history, the culture, the tradition, the fan base, everything that we all know. And to be able to have those individuals have that insight, have that passion, want to come to a program that's a championship level program that can win championships year in and year out, that's what made this so special. So for me, it was about understanding more about the individuals and what they came to the table with. When you look at mentors and stuff, it is important to me because to me, it's about understanding who they are, who they've been around, what they have learned from those individuals. My conversations with Coach Donovan, there were probably a little less than a handful of conversations with him one-on-one. Honestly, probably till the third or fourth call is the first time he actually mentioned Richard Pitino's name. So we talked about a lot of things. We talked about coaches that were in the process, people that I was trying to find out about, things that he had heard, who he thought were good people, good coaches. But there was also me reaching out to a lot of other coaches in this business, a lot of other administrators in this business, people within NABC. I mean, it was pulling out every individual that I have had an opportunity to build a network with to be able to ask them for guidance, for thoughts, for ins and outs of what they know about people. And Billy was no different. When it came down to it at the end, I can tell you this. Coach Donovan is one of his mentors. He's one of mine as well. My conversations with Richard Pitino prior to this were, I think, 1 or 2 hellos in passing when he was an assistant coach with Coach Donovan. I've watched him from afar. I've always been impressed with the way he's handled himself and the way he's gone about doing his business. So when that conversation with Coach Donovan came about, it was truly very honest. We talked about the candidates that were in the mix at that time, and he was very, very transparent with each one of them. And I appreciate that, but he wasn't the only one that I was reaching out to during this process.
All right, with that, we will go to Van Tate at KRQE.
Eddie, I know you just said that you were impressed with how Richard has handled himself, but what was it that stood out that made you say, this is our guy, this is our fit? What stood out about him?
Yeah, I think many of you who know me know that I will do my due diligence. I'm going to look into everything that I can possibly look into for every candidate. I feel everybody needs to be treated fairly and equally through this process. So I made sure that as I approached every conversation with Richard and any one of the candidates, I kept myself for the most part, balanced as much as I can. I didn't want to show any kind of emotions or feelings or thoughts until really I took the time, digested it all. But for someone like Richard, we had a great opportunity, great connection from the first minute that we started talking. His vision, his approach to the program, how he's going to build it, why this job is so special. I knew right from the beginning, this is a guy who can really resonate extremely well with our fan base. There were some others that did as well, but did they check all the boxes? This was a very difficult decision at the end of the day. And I told Richard this, but I am a big believer in going with my gut, very similar to what I said when I hired Danny Gonzalez here. It is about ultimately thinking everything through and making sure that you're making the right decision for what the decision was from the beginning, which is for the University of New Mexico. So Richard is here because Richard's the right coach, and he's the right coach for us, and he's the right coach for this program and for this state. I truly believe it.
And when you were talking to him, you said he knew had some knowledge about New Mexico. Did the quirkiness come up? Did you talk about how pretty this place could be?
It's hard for people to understand, and outside of New Mexico, but the way people view this program is so high, and it has earned that because of the passionate fan base that we have. And so there's not many places that coaches can sit here today and say, you know what, that program has the fan base that we can really make something happen with. Take out all the money, take out all those different other factors that are involved. It's about, can you make it happen with what's in place, facilities, resources, all that stuff? That's all great. But when you have such a passionate fan base, everybody talks about how eerie and this and that it can be. But at the end of the day, if you're the coach here, it's a special feeling. And you're going to get some wins just because of that pit crowd. Now it's a matter of making those other wins count, the other ones as well.
All right. With that, we'll go to Will Weber with the Santa Fe New Mexican.
Eddie, attendance is at an all-time low the last 3 seasons the Lobos have played in the pit. I'm just curious, can a coach turn that around? And if he can turn it around, what is it about Richard Pitino that can ignite the fan base beyond just getting excited with the value of his name?
Good question. I'm a big believer and have seen it at many other programs that I've been fortunate to be around, and some that I've seen from afar. The right coach can always reignite the fan base. And I think what you see today is a culmination of a lot of things. It's not just the fan base because of wins and losses. It's also a fan base that's gone through a lot in the last 4 years. I can attest. I've had the fun challenges of having to take some of those challenges head on. And we've done our part to do things right and do things and put it into a position where we can be successful. I do believe that our fan base will start buying into the opportunity to come back. Now, yes, COVID has put another challenge in front of us, which we don't know how what's going to happen within the next year. All we can do is put everything to the best of our ability, and that's to find the right coach that can help sell this program, the right person that can help mentor, coach these student athletes, and then ultimately get the right teams in here to compete that makes it exciting about who we compete against. So when it's all said and done, between everything we're going to do from a marketing, a ticketing, a staff, on top of having the right coach here. And Richard's going to be unbelievable because he's going to reignite the fan base. We saw that at Minnesota. Even through the 8 years he's been there, it's been consistent with his fan base. And that's a testament to who he is, how he does things, and the way he approaches, not just basketball, but off the court as well. So we're excited. I truly believe, our fan base is gonna love what they're gonna see from him and from our program in the future.
All right, with that, we'll go to Lee Faria. Patrick Hayes is on deck. Lee, you're up.
Eddie, was this somewhat of a comfort hire for you? I mean, kind of fell into place and comfortable with knowing who he is and what his background is and that kind of thing?
Honestly, no. I could tell you there was some other people that I knew more about as individuals that probably would have been more comfort level decisions and would have made it a lot easier. I had met Richard a couple times in passing. So his interaction with me was very minimal. The responses that I received from other coaches, not just my own mentors, but other coaches in this business, were important. And so that's why, like I said, it wasn't an easy decision. We had some unbelievable coaches, quality individuals, high character. So when you take that and just say, we had a great group of coaches, this was a hard decision because at the end of the day, it's an important one. And I need to know that that person is going to be the right person. So no, it wasn't as comfortable as I would have liked it to be, but it was. At the end of the day, I feel great because we did our due diligence.
You know the game.
Yep.
I mean, you played the game. So when you look at Richard, as far as what he does on the floor, is that some style that or pace that you see that, yeah, that's the way I want my teams to play?
Well, first of all, I participated. I don't know how much playing I did here and there at times, but I participated quite a bit. You know what? Every coach that we looked at brought a unique style to their game. He has a little more up-tempo basketball, and he's shown the defensive presence from not just the man-to-man, some pressing and things like that. Every coach that was in the room in the conversations, I felt through and through were excellent coaches. And Richard is an excellent coach. I could care less if he's going to press, and that's up to him. He's got to find a way to make this exciting. He's got to find a way to make it successful for our kids. I know what kind of emphasis he puts into developing student athletes, what he does to compete at a high level. And that's for me, that was a big selling point.
All right, we'll stay with Channel 4, but we'll move over to the news side. Patrick Hayes, you are up. Ron Burke, you will be on deck.
All right, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. I was wondering, do you have a message for fans and what they should expect in this, I guess, the next couple seasons, or, contract length? Can you talk about, is this going to be something they're going to look forward to for years to come?
Contract length, again, that's still in the process of being finalized. We're looking at right now roughly a 6-year contract. That's the same as we gave Danny. We feel it gives them enough opportunity to be able to do what needs to be done and give them some time to be successful here. With that, though, again, we're making sure that our contracts are balanced both ways. And that's something that I think you've seen in every contract that we've done here, is to make sure the university is in a good situation as well as the coach. So trying to be responsible for our financial situation as well as the future. Now, in regards to our fan base, this is an exciting time, guys and ladies. I mean, if I had to tell our fan base the opportunity they get to see our coach firsthand, they're going to know that you have somebody who's all in on being a Lobo, all in on building this to be a championship program. This is not, again, just about winning games. This is about winning championships and doing it the right way. We have some unbelievable coaches here. We have that from Danny to to Richard, to all our coaches. You're going to have some coaches that are going to be unbelievably engaged in our fan base, in our community, and I think they're going to truly resonate well in supporting this team in the future.
I do have a quick follow-up, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, do you have like expectations, I guess, for the first couple seasons? Is this going to be like a rebuilding couple years, and then, you know, you expect to see them in the tournament and succeed, you know, further along down the line?
National championship next year. I mean, that's it. I mean, that or bust. No, it's, guys, here's the deal. We have to be understanding of the situation. We can't be naive. It's going to take him some time. Now, that's between he and the student athletes getting all in, being aligned, and figuring it out early. If they do, success can happen in the first year. I'm not putting a timetable on this. For me, I see what can be done here. I see what opportunities. I think whatever timetable I put there, he is gonna strive to beat it. So if I say I want to be in NCAA's the next year, the following year, he's gonna do everything in his power, and so is this team, to better that. So for me, he knows what it takes to compete at a high level. He went to 2 NCAA championships, 1 in NIT, Big Ten Coach of the Year. He gets it. He understands what it takes to build a championship team here, and he's going to do that. And our expectation is we're going to do everything we can to support him so he has every ability, every resource to be successful here.
All right, with that, we will go to Ron Burke. Mark Smith will be on deck.
First of all, Eddie, thanks for this. This is so helpful. So thanks for meeting with us today. I know I speak very when I say that. Some of the success you outlined about what he did at Minnesota speaks to his ability to bring in quality players in what is a rugged conference to compete in. How much did you learn about his handle on recruiting, his thoughts about what kind of players he wants to bring into the program, and his ability to bring high-level performers to the program?
You know, Ron, I think he was able to articulate very well to us, not just his approach, his vision, and what he's done right and done wrong throughout his career. I think it's important and I said this earlier on the radio, it's important to have individuals that are understanding of what has worked for them and what hasn't. If they can't adjust, if they can't adapt, if they can't get themselves better, then honestly, that's more concern to me than how they're recruiting or what they're thinking about recruiting. So I've took a lot from his ability to explain the ups and downs, what he's done recruiting, what has helped, what hasn't. One thing that's really impressive, though, is if you look at the talent that he has brought into Minnesota, they have developed every year. Each of those kids have gotten better. He's had 3, at least, to my knowledge, student athletes that have gone to play in the NBA. He has others that have been not just first team all conference. He has had individuals that have continually gotten better during their time. And that's important because for me, it's about the development of these student athletes. So it's great. He could go out there and recruit a 5-star or 4-star, 3-star, but what do you do when they get here? How do they mix with your team? He hasn't had this huge number of transfers as part of his team that have left the program. He has helped have some continuity and also build the program the right way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll go to Mark Smith. Mark, we were going to have this press conference at 6:30. Thought about doing it at 6:30, but we decided against it. So, Mark, you're up. Jeff Grammer is on deck.
Yeah, I was going to tell Eddie I missed him last night. Where'd you go? And I did apologize to him and anyone else. I was on the air live last night when this stuff was happening and didn't get a chance. Eddie, you know where we're at. Hey, a lot of the questions got answered, actually, since you put me to the back of the line there, Frank. But you look at the way Steve Alford came in here, and a lot of people were wondering, because he kind of was on the hot seat at Iowa, but he showed what he could do. Rick's had the same situation. He comes in here like that after being on the hot seat there at Minnesota. How different of an animal is it in college basketball where you can't really just go by the wins and losses, and everything has to do so much with an individual in an individual circumstance, and how much did that weigh in for you?
Yeah, no, that's, again, good question. We had So again, wins and losses aren't the greatest example of who individuals are as people, how they run their programs. Can they develop programs? Can they build programs? Can they build championship programs? Wins and losses is important, though. I'm not going to sit here and say no. Wins and losses weren't a part of this. We knew what had happened and how he has gotten to where he is today. What I needed to understand more so than anything else, and with other candidates, not just himself, is understanding who they are as individuals. How have they addressed whatever circumstances? I asked point blank, those years that weren't as desirable as others, what happened? And it was great to listen to. But what was even better was talking to his AD at Minnesota and him echoing almost to a T the same factors. So a lot is kind of put on the wins and losses. And I sit here today, and when an AD who's the Minnesota AD, Mark Coyle, who I've known since my days at the SEC, he told me firsthand, he said, look, we got to a point, we knew that this was probably going to be evident that we were going to have to part ways, but we also knew that there was some interest in him going to New Mexico. So for me, to know that an AD is understanding and truly cares about him, I mean, that was the one thing that it resonated. He spoke extremely highly of him as a person, as a coach, and that's what you need to do. Every one of these candidates that we looked at, other people made claims about other candidates that were in the mix. The fact is, these are unbelievable people, unbelievable coaches, and if you look back at what program they took over and what they had to endure over those years, it really you get a better understanding of how they've been able to address things, how they've been able to do so. Yeah, we'd all like a coach that's won 4 or 5 national championships and has an impeccable record, but the reality is, first of all, they're not probably leaving. Second of all, are they the right person for this place? And I've said that before. And then lastly, again, when you look at all this, is it somebody that can truly build a program, or is it somebody that's just taking a program and continuing success? So a lot of factors are considered, but with Richard, it was evident when the people that I spoke to, and even his former athletic director, we had a class act, an individual who has always carried himself, how he conducted himself in the community, how he conducted himself in the athletic department. I mean, I heard from coaches that were no longer coaches there as assistants, and who just spoke so highly of him as a person and how he supported everybody. That goes a long way. So I don't know if I answered it, kind of went in a little more than I should have, but just, yeah, there was a lot to every discussion.
Well, it was worth it because it was 24 hours worth for me, so I appreciate it. Quickly, could you talk about the difference in this process, this rebuilding process, and Danny Gonzalez's in football? A little bit about the expectations right away and down the road.
Yeah, they're both different from the standpoint of, first of all, it's hard to compare apples to apples when you talk sports, different sports, just because everyone takes a little bit different approach. Football, you've got so many kids that you're dealing with. Recruiting is a whole different animal. In basketball, it's different. And the transfer portal and everything that's happening in the world of transferring is a lot stronger presence in the world of basketball than football at times. And so one person in football might be a big piece to your puzzle, whereas one person in basketball could be a difference maker. So there's a lot of different approaches. I think the one thing is understanding that you have 2 coaches that are committed to getting this program where we want it to be and where we need it to be, and they're willing to do it and do it the right way. And that those 2 have had an opportunity to speak. And again, I trust Danny and the time that he's been here and what I've gotten to know of him and as a person, that when after their conversation and what he told me about him really made a lot of sense for me in the decision that was made.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I just muted Eddie by mistake, so I apologize for that. So we need to unmute Eddie. Chase can probably hear that. I hit the wrong box. But while we unmute Eddie, Jeff Grammer is up, and then we'll go back to Van Tate.
Eddie, this is, I guess, similar to how Mark asked and set up the last one where he was referencing Alford. There are people here that, don't want to hear about a Steve Alford comparison. But there are 2 big names that kind of surround Richard's I guess, hiring, and that's the name of his dad, obviously, and the shadow he operates under being Rick Pitino's son, and also the comparison to a guy who spent 8 years at Big Ten program, losing record, comes to New Mexico after a unsuccessful stint like Paul Weir had. In Alfred's case, it was Richie McKay. I want to see how you kind of reconcile this idea that you're hiring somebody who has two big kind of shadows over him for taking this job, and what you think about those things, and how you know he's going to be his own individual if you think that.
Yeah, again, success is to be determined, as we all know. You know, the one thing that I can tell you here is, in trying to use analogies that you've used, and using Alfred as, I guess, an example, that didn't go into my thought process, or where they've been and where they are today. But looking at someone, the difference between Richard and his father are night and day. And even Coach Pitino, Rick Pitino, will tell you this. There's a lot more similarities between Coach Donovan and Richard Pitino. And what it shows me, what it tells me, is he's been able to take the good and understand all the challenges or the bad, you say, from all these coaches he's been around. And it's not just head coaches, it's assistant coaches and others, and coaches he's coached against. And he's kind of molded himself into who he is today. And who he is he is his own person. He knows his name is a name he'll carry with him for the rest of his life, and he owes a lot to his dad for giving him an opportunity. But the fact is, he has built the successes, and the reason he's here today is because of who he is and what he has done. And so I think that's the first thing. Second, I would tell you, yes, his conference record is not ideal. But if you go back and look at the Big Ten, which many of us probably would consider the top basketball conference right now, and probably for the last several years for sure, it has what he has done across the board, and the wins. I mean, this year he had 5 wins against ranked teams, Michigan, Ohio State, several others. I mean, you look at that and you say, he can do it, and do it at a high level. So if we just sit here and focus on the negatives of the losses, it wouldn't be a true indicator of who he is or what the program he has built. So I'm not going to sit here and compare the two apples to apples, because I don't think I truly think they're totally different. I think it's about, for today and at the time where our program is, he is and will be the best coach that we can to help us take us to the next level.
Should I go, Frank?
Hey, you're up.
Eddie, I guess my question is coaching staff. Is he going to bring his own guys? Are you anticipating on keeping some of the coaching staff that's already in place? How's that going to go?
Well, this is another fun one that honestly I let him do. Of course, I've always said this is head coaches select their assistant coaches. That's not where I get in. As long as they pass their background checks and they understand the salary, and they come in for the right reasons, it's for them to make a selection. I know he was interested in Dave and Ed Manzanares and a couple of these other guys to be on staff with him, but we're going to hold off until he has an opportunity to meet with all of them. But honestly, guys, I couldn't tell you what he's going to do. He's going to evaluate the current coaches that are here. He's going to review the coaches that were with him at Minnesota, and then he's going to make an assessment. I know for a fact he's not going to be bringing his whole staff. He might bring 1 or 2 maybe with him, but that's something he's going to determine after he's had an opportunity to meet with our coaches here and determine what's the best fit.
All right, with that, we will go to Lee Faria. Lee, you're up.
Eddie, what was the time frame here as far as when Richard became the top guy? Because you said that, you knew him from, hey, hello, how are you? When did he just jump above the rest of the candidates?
Last night. I mean, guys, I got down, and many of you already had seen it. I wasn't trying to hide too much about it. You guys all knew who some of the finalists were. The fact is, for me, last night, after myself sitting at home and putting everything on the table, thinking about the ins and outs of all the aspects, this was a tough decision, because we had some great coaches, great individuals. But at the end of the day, last night, it was my gut feeling. It was what I had been feeling through the last couple interviews or opportunities that we had to sit down with Richard is this is the guy. This is the guy who I can see help lead this program. This is the guy who I want in our department, running this program. This is the person that I feel could work with myself, our staff, our university, our regents, our fan base, and be what we need them to be.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, we'll go to Roger Julian with Mountain West Wire.
Eddie, obviously you got somebody with a lot of name recognition. That has a lot of positives to it. Have the current players, have you got a gauge? Have they been the response of the players? Has he met with him? And when will he meet with them?
So tough part for us is many of those kids, because it is spring break here for our school. So some of those student athletes are home right now. Some of them are here. He had an opportunity to Zoom in with all the players this morning. He will meet with them when he gets here in town the next day or so. So right now, at this time, he has had an opportunity to meet with I think everyone except one or two student athletes that were in transit. So we could not have the ability to meet with them. But he met with them. He talked to them. I think it goes back to ultimately when he sits across from them face to face and has that ability to talk to them and find out where they are, what the mindset is, and how do they fit into his plan.
Gotcha.
All right. With that, I know it's spring break, but we do have the Daily Lobo here. So we have Heaven Heckus. I've asked her to unmute herself. Is pinch hitting for Spencer, who is out of town. Heaven, you're up.
Hi. Before my question, would it be okay if I just made a quick clarification?
Sure.
So are Mr. Pitino's contract negotiations with the university in progress right now?
Their negotiations, I think it's legalities. The legalities are being handled by both legal, their side and our side, to make sure that all the verbiage is signed off on, I guess, more than anything else.
Okay, so my question is the University Athletics Department pursuing clauses in Mr. Pitino's contract that differ from previous Lobo men's basketball coaches regarding the potential for premature contract termination and buyouts?
Our contract will be very similar to those, not just in our industry, but those in our peers, that we would try to make sure that the market value and everything that's associated with those contracts would have the language in it. I think one of the things that you can look into in previous contracts that we've established here with not just football coach but other coaches as well, has put the institution in a better place when it comes to buyouts, leaving early, all those different clauses that gives more balance to the contract than maybe some had previously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
With that, we will go to Mr. Symbieta, who was pretty close to getting. I think he got the first interview with Eddie this morning.
He got lucky. My phone rang. I didn't know who it was, man. I'm telling you, it was some weird number, and I thought I was hoping it was an accountant or somebody giving me more money, but no. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I know recruiting and basketball has become more universal and everybody's familiar with everybody, but just curious about regional familiarity in regards to the league itself and more so recruiting in places that have been important to UNM recruiting traditionally and how he plans on going about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think it's an important piece of the puzzle is to understand that the understanding of this league, how has success been built here in this league by other programs, understanding what kind of players you have to recruit, what are the prime areas, is it Texas, is it California, is it Colorado, and then how do you branch out, is it international? The one thing that I think across the board that we were able to understand by all these candidates is understanding that they took all that into consideration. But I also sit here and say there's coaches that have had success here that have not been from this region. And I think it's okay if you're not from this region, as long as you understand it and embrace it and you're willing to truly be all in and buy into what New Mexico's about, what this region's about, what the kind of recruiting, and as long as you're doing it right, I believe you can have success. I truly do. So I think there has to be an understanding, but as far as a full through and through a lot of commitment to it, I don't think it has to be 100%. I think there could be a big balance between the two.
All right. Again, a reminder, we will have a press conference on Thursday. We think it's going to be at noon. We will send that out. Also, another reminder that I'm handling the big stuff here on this, but Chelsea will be doing men's basketball media. So if you have questions about it, she's just got some new pictures. We're going to have some other media type stuff as well. So make sure you go through Chelsea for that. And with that, we will wind this up with where we started with Mr. Grammer for the final question. Jeff, you're up.
Eddie, I know you got feedback quite a bit from a lot of people you've talked about, but some of those people you got feedback the last couple of weeks was boosters and people that support this program. And as everyone on this call, most people on this call know, it seems like everybody in this town says they're 50-year season ticket holders in this town. And everybody thinks they have a stake in this program, and that's what's made the program what it is the fans. How surprised were you, two parts, how surprised were you that you were getting such negative feedback on some of the candidates that were being out there? But also, how important is it to make sure that this one works, because this program is one that not only needs for community purposes, Lobo basketball to get right, as an athletic department financially, you guys need this hire to work out. And so the importance of that, but also the feedback you got from boosters, were you surprised by it?
No, actually, I believe everybody's been a season ticket holder 50 years here. So that's, for me, I'm fine with it. They have earned it. You know what? The reality is most of those people have been here. They have a lot of pride and passion into this program. And listening to them, of course, I'd like to be able to respond to everyone and say, nope, you're wrong. Let me tell you why. But the fact is, that's not the time or place. As I said before, I wanted to make sure as through this process went that I did my due diligence, that we wanted to go about it. I would have loved to have been able to respond back to others as why this doesn't work or why that person is somebody that we're not going to be considering. But you know what? It's okay. They're passionate for a reason. That's what makes this program, this university, this athletic department so special. So I'm okay with it. I'm fine. In regards to your second one was about
the importance of
yeah,
this one, right?
You know,
the entire department, not just
yeah.
basketball.
I'm not going to add additional stress or pressure on Richard about importance of, we know what we want to do here. And if we do what needs to be done here as an athletic department and Richard with that program, this shouldn't be a conversation or a question as we move forward. It's not about, hey, we need to win and we need to get this person here, because if he doesn't win, then the rest of the department's going south. No, it's getting the right person here. We win everything with all the criteria that I told you from the beginning, the right person that can engage the community, that has good character, that can do all the things that we laid out. If they do that, then I truly believe that won't be a situation or a concern that we have moving in the future. There's a lot of great things happening with all our programs. You know, yesterday you saw our cross country team had a tremendous finish. Of course, would have loved to see a national championship, but a 6th place finish is I mean, again, another top 10 finish for our cross country program, and the list goes on and on and on. Football's ready to explode. I know it. I see their spring practices last week were unbelievable. Some of you have had the opportunity to see it. That's the same thing. You see women's basketball. I mean, they should have been in the NCAA. I don't want to get in trouble here, get going on off of my soapbox, but they should have been, because they worked their tails off. The only team in the country to be on the road for every one of their games. That success across the board, soccer, baseball, we see it. So basketball's not going to be any different. I truly believe that we've put the right pieces in place, the right people in place to really get this department, that sport, and our fans to really understand that we're doing it and we're going to do it the right way, and they're going to be something they're going to be proud of for a long time to come.
All right. With that, I think we are done. I want to thank everyone that here in the media. Reminder, you'll get an email about the press conference on Thursday, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank all the fans that are watching on the stream at golobos.com/watch and on the Facebook page.
Well, first, Frank, can I say thank you to them? I didn't know they were on. So thank you to all our fans out there. I really appreciate you you staying and listening to this craziness for all afternoon here. So we're so excited. This is going to be a great time. I hope you're as excited as we are. We're going to make this this pit be as special as we all know it can be. So thank you for being on today, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. Go ahead, Frank. Sorry about that.
No, that's it. You wrapped it up much better than I could have. So thanks everyone for joining. We'll be on our Facebook page if you need to review anything. Thanks everybody.
Thanks guys.